You're not going to believe what we've got today. So settle in, hit that like button, and let's get right into it. Because in Foxborough, the board just shifted in a way that could change Sunday without warning. There's a quiet return that might keep this defense from cracking when everyone expects it to. There's a flashing red coaching alarm that exposes a problem we all thought was fixed. There's a revenge mindset that's about to get tested in Baltimore. And there's our quarterback saying something that should fire up the entire locker room. So let me ask you straight up, do you trust the next man up mentality? Or are you genuinely worried? You know that feeling when an entire season can swing on one detail most people barely notice? That's where Patriots Nation is living right now. Because when it gets tight, it's not the biggest name on the Jumbotron that saves you. It's the guys who can take hits for 4 quarters and still do their job. And the biggest clue this week didn't come from some wild headline. It came from a simple moment at practice, and it tells you a lot about what New England is walking into against Baltimore. In the middle of all these punches to the defense, one piece of good news showed up. Christian Ellis was back at practice after missing the first session of the week with an illness. That sounds small, but it isn't, because the bigger picture is screaming danger. Robert Spillane, the team's leading tackler, started the week in a walking boot and then missed another practice with that ankle. If Spillane can't go, the pressure drops immediately on Ellis, Jack Gibbons, and Jelani Tavai. And here's the uncomfortable question. Can you really handle Lamar Jackson with a linebacker room that's been stitched together all week and still stay disciplined? And it's not just the linebackers. Harold Landry is still out with a knee issue, which matters because that's pass rush, contain, edge setting, everything you need when you're facing a quarterback who can turn one broken angle into a 40-yard highlight. In the secondary, Carlton Davis and Marcus Jones have been out too. If they can't play, you're looking at Charles Woods and Miles Battle as the next corners up. Do they have talent? Absolutely. Do they have enough big game reps if Baltimore starts hunting matchups? That's where the stomach tightens. Because against the Ravens, one step late isn't a completion. It's points. The staff is pushing the message hard. Next man up, no excuses. And you can see that in the roster moves. New England brought in linebacker Chad Muma off Indianapolis's practice squad and signed Amari Gaynor to the practice squad as well. Those sound like quiet additions, but they're strategic. Baltimore forces you to tackle in space, fit the run with precision, and communicate like your life depends on it. If you hesitate, Lamar punishes you. Period. And there's another detail that can't be ignored. Christian Barmore is listed as full participation and not injury-related. If he's truly ready to roll, he can be the anchor inside, the guy who keeps the middle firm so everyone else can play faster and freer. But with this many starters still questionable, the tension is real. A top defense can't live on hope. It lives on execution. Now here's what makes all of this even more intense. While the defense is trying to survive the injury storm, the offense just created a different kind of storm last weekend, one that's still hanging in the air. Because what happened at Gillette against Buffalo wasn't just a loss, it was a wake-up call. When you play one great half and then vanish, you don't just lose a game. You invite doubt, you fuel criticism, and you expose decisions that cannot happen again in December. That first half was everything fans have been begging for. A run game with purpose, misdirection, Buffalo on its heels, Drake Maye in rhythm. The offense looked like it had answers. But after halftime, it felt like somebody hit the reset button back to safe mode. And that's what drives people crazy. Josh McDaniels finally flashed that he understands Maye's full weaponry by calling designed QB runs, and they worked. They popped. They stressed the defense. And then somehow that edge just faded out of the plan in the second half. It felt like panic. Instead of leaning into what was working, the offense got predictable. The play action vanished. The wrinkles disappeared. The pre-snap stuff that forces defenders to think, gone. And when you make it easy for a defense to read you, especially one that already adjusted, everything gets harder. The offensive line, already shaky at times, started committing drive-killing penalties. Holding calls on Vidarian Lowe and Mike Onwenu put the offense behind the chains, and Maye, trying to answer while the pressure mounted, forced a deep shot that turned into an interception. And then there's the Tre'Veyon Henderson conversation. The rookie showed exactly what he is. Speed, burst, instant juice, 2 long touchdown runs, big playability that changes the math for a defense. And yet the frustration remains because earlier in the season he was held back, in large part because of pass pro concerns. Let's be real. You don't draft an explosive back like that to turn him into a stationary blocker. If you can get solid protection, great. But you don't bury game-breaking talent while your offense begs for chunk plays. Now zoom out. The calendar is ruthless. 3 games left. The division is still in reach, but the margin for error is basically gone. Next stop is Baltimore, on the road, against Lamar Jackson. A loss there can flip the AFC East picture and bring back ugly memories of late-season slides nobody in Foxborough wants to relive. The biggest question isn't whether the Patriots have talent. They do. The question is whether the play calling and decisions match that talent when the season is squeezing your throat. And if the offense left us with questions, the defense left us with something worse. A bad taste that won't go away. This unit takes pride in playing dominant football. That's the identity. So what happened in the second half against the Bills? That's not just a rough stretch. That's personal. And you can feel it in how the team's been talking all week. Against Buffalo, the defense started the way it's supposed to start. A suffocating first quarter, no first downs early. The run game bottled up, Josh Allen uncomfortable. That was the Patriots' DNA. But after halftime, the whole thing flipped. The Bills scored 5 straight touchdowns. 5. Allen threw 3 passing TDs. James Cook ran for 2 more, and a 17-point halftime lead disappeared like it never existed. The hardest part isn't just the points, it's the lack of response, the sense that momentum hit, and New England didn't punch back. Defensive play caller Zach Core made it clear, there are no excuses being handed out. There's disappointment, coaches and players, but also urgency. And the season-long numbers prove this defense is real. Top 10 in scoring defense, strong against the run, solid overall. That doesn't just evaporate, but it can get exposed when communication slips, tackling gets sloppy, and guys start freelancing. And that last part is the key this week. Against Lamar Jackson, you cannot be a hero. You can't abandon your gap chasing a highlight. You can't break contain because you almost had it. Core's message is simple. Do your job, nothing more. Because Lamar doesn't just punish mistakes, he turns them into points. He sees one overreaction and he's gone. One bad angle and you're watching him glide into the end zone. So the vibe right now is intense. The defense wants that taste out of its mouth. They want to prove the Buffalo second half was the exception, not the beginning of a pattern. And that matters because a wounded, proud defense usually responds one of 2 ways. It either folds or it comes out locked in and violent in the best football sense. Fast, disciplined, and angry. But now here's where the tone shifts, because in the middle of injuries, criticism, pressure, and all the noise, there's one steady thing holding this season together. Drake Maye isn't just playing well, he's leading. At 23, Maye has the Patriots sitting at 11-3, punched into the playoffs, and talked about like a real Super Bowl threat. That alone could inflate the ego of a veteran. But what jumps out is how he handles the outside chatter. MVP odds? He's right there, second best, behind Matthew Stafford. The comparisons to young Lamar and Mahomes are already starting. The whole league is watching, and Maye refuses to bite. When he was asked about MVP, he didn't pretend it doesn't matter. He respected what it means. But he said the quiet part out loud. The goal is a Super Bowl, not a trophy on a shelf. That's the Patriot way in modern form. And you can see it in how he carries himself, how he shrugs off MVP chants, how he takes hits without pointing fingers, how he keeps credit in the locker room and focus on the next drive. And right now, that mindset matters more than ever. Because when the offense sputters, when the defense wobbles, when coaching decisions get questioned, a team looks at its quarterback. And what they see is a guy who thinks like a winner, not a headline. So here's the bottom line. Everything connects. A defense that's bruised but proud. An offense with talent that needs fearless decision-making when pressure hits. A staff on the clock. And a quarterback already carrying himself like a champion. The next few weeks will tell us if this team responds like a true contender or repeats mistakes that still haunt Foxborough. The margin is gone. Every snap matters. Now I want it from you. What worries you the most and what fires you up the most about these Patriots right now? Hit like, subscribe, and drop your take in the comments because Patriots Nation is going to debate this all the way to the last second.